Welcome to Mock the Mock, where we take a look at someone else's mock draft and I'm mocking, give you my views, thoughts, and opinions. I got a great one for you today. We're going to be traveling over to the Draft Network, checking out Justin Melo's mock draft. The draft order is decided based on Super Bowl betting odds. So let's go ahead, get into it. Carolina Panthers are first here, and they're going with Carson Beck. If you're not new to the channel, you kind of know my stance on this quarterback class. I don't really believe there's a top 10 talent here just yet. I look at this class and I'm like, yeah, these are guys you can't start away. They're relatively developmental quarterbacks, which is A-okay. But I feel like if you're going to take one of those guys in the top 10, there has to be some significant upside. And with Carson Beck and Shadur, I think those guys have very high floors and moderate ceilings. I think they could maybe vie to be top 10 quarterbacks in the league, but they don't have that little bit of stink, I think, to be elite, or at least Carson Beck. I think Shadur could be potentially a different story, but like Beck, what you like about Beck, moderate arm strength. I'd say it's like a 6.5, 7 on a scale of 1 to 10. He really gets, what you really like about him is the accuracy, the timing of his throws, the anticipation of the ball placement. That hasn't been there this year because, well, we could blame that on a lack of chemistry with some new actors there at the pass catcher position, a new cast of characters, so to speak. And I'm going to be real. I don't think the Panthers are done with Bryce Young. This first line is the Panthers are moving on from Bryce Young. I don't believe that. Not yet. I think he might get a few starts later in the year. They want to get that confidence back up. Keep in mind, this is a guy that they invested mightily in. And I think just throwing that to the trash, throwing that to the fire is not wise. And really, to move off of that guy in this type of quarterback class, I'm not on board with that. I'm just not on board with that. We could talk about it next year. If you're still not confident in him, maybe move him prior to the trade deadline, or maybe you don't like what you see in camp, move him prior to the regular season. I'm just not in on moving Bryce Young right now, or even in this upcoming offseason. Denver Broncos next on the board. They go with Kelvin Banks, offensive tackle out of Texas. He had that big game against Michigan, which kind of, for me, really separated him from Will Campbell. Will Campbell's still really good, but you go and look at their play again in big matchups, and you take a look at that Michigan game where Banks had a very good game against guys like Derek Moore and Josiah Stewart compared to Will Campbell, who had more of a battle there with Dylan Stewart of South Carolina. Now, I'm not saying there's a big gap between those guys. There certainly aren't. But opposed to where I thought it was 1A, 1B, I'm more confident in Banks right now being the first tackle off the board. By the way, Broncos, you got Garrett Bowles as a free agent. Mike McGlinchey is expensive and hurt. So, yeah, you probably want to refurbish the tackle position for your franchise quarterback in Bo Nix. You want to be sure you're protecting that investment. Gotta give a little shout out to Underdog Fantasy. Thank you for being the sponsor of today's video. When you sign up at Underdog Fantasy using promo code Broshmo, they will match that first deposit up to $250. It is not only the best place to play weekly best ball, but you could also play higher or lower on player props. I love that. And they give you free picks to do that with. For instance, you think Dak Prescott's going to go over 1 yard? It's a gimme pick. You could add that to your little parlay. Patrick Mahomes, that's the one I'm taking. Give me him. Give me him? What are words? Give me him over 1 yard. I'm also looking at the Thursday night game, and dude, Malik Neighbors, I'll take him getting a score and a touchdown. Yes, please. He's been doing that all year. On top of that, I hate to throw a little shade at Zeke, but I'm going to take the lower at 27.5 yards. But you could also get in on the action and get in on the fun at Underdog Fantasy. Again, if you sign up, use promo code Broshmo, and they will match that first deposit up to $250. They got promos throughout the whole week. It's not just gimme picks. And if you are going to bet, please Bet responsibly and bet within your means. And number 3, the New York Giants go with Shedeur Sanders. Now listen, second verse, same as the first, as they say. I'm not in on this quarterback class. We could, I say there's not a top 10 quarterback. I think I'd be willing to take a quarterback maybe at 7, 8, 9, 10, somewhere in that range. But I'm still probably shooting for maybe a guy like Cam Ward. You can make a case for Quinn Ewers, Drew Aller, but even then, I don't feel great about it. Shedeur, I talked about, could be maybe. He's had a better season thus far, I would say, than Carson Beck. The precision's been good, the accuracy's been good, the anticipation has been good, and he's doing this basically by himself. And what I mean by that is the blocking hasn't been great, the run game doesn't exist. They're not scheming anything up, so he's not really getting any easy passes. These are just true dropbacks. So we're not seeing play action. We're not seeing RPOs, or at least not seeing a ton of RPOs. We're just not seeing a ton of things that should help him out. So Shedeur's kind of doing more with essentially less than Carson Beck. That's why I would make the argument Shedeur should be over Beck. I know a lot of people don't like necessarily the attitude of Shedeur, and I think there's a case to be made there. Really, everyone kind of in that Colorado abyss, but yeah, I get Giants. You need a quarterback. You want a quarterback. You probably should find one this offseason. I just don't think pick 3 would be the place to do it. New England Patriots, they go with Will Campbell. Listen, Will Campbell is not that far off from Kelvin Banks. What really separates them is their play in big-time matchups, or a big-time matchup. And we're very early into the season. A lot can change. I'm a big fan of Will Campbell. Obviously, the Patriots need some offensive line help, particularly at left tackle. We saw Caden Wallace step in and look every bit of a third-round rookie against a very fierce pass rush by the Jets. So, yeah, you probably want to... You want to secure your future investment in Drake May. How you do that is adding more talent to the offensive line. Tennessee tight ends go with Abdul Carter, edge out of Penn State. I'm not the biggest fan of Abdul Carter, and I hate saying that. I get it. Dude's a stupid good athlete playing his first year off the edge, but he's very unpolished. You worry about his ability to stack and shed in the run game. You worry about his ability to set the edge in the run game. He's not a great guy in engagement currently. He played much better against Kent State, but to be fair, Kent State's kind of a high school team right now. They're constantly getting blown out, lost to St. Francis. They're not a good team. So I think more this week against a much more brutal offensive line, a much more physical offensive line in Illinois will be a big game for Abdul Carter to kind of help his draft stock, in my opinion. Again, I think he's maybe more back end of the first round, take a shot on those traits, but that's kind of where I stand with Carter. Tennessee going with an edge, I think it makes sense. Landry's been playing really good football this year, but you could probably add some more horses there. What other? You could make a case they could go wide receiver. You make a case that they could go with another corner. There's a lot on the table for Tennessee. The Washington Commanders go with Will Johnson, corner out of Michigan. Dude had a pick 6 this past weekend. I'm hoping the injury wasn't severe. He was able to walk on his own power to the locker room. I haven't checked in on what that injury could be or if it'll cost him playing time. But Will Johnson's been phenomenal. He has 2 pick 6s this year. Whenever you throw hit his way, it's a mistake. He's so good in both man and zone coverage, in press, in off coverage. His ability to disguise, read, react, click, and close. It's all a top tier. It really is. To me, I think he's probably still going to be my top prospect in this class. I'm going to start moving people in the next few weeks because we've kind of seen a good bit of play at this point. Now we're really starting to get into some of the big time matchups. So there's going to be some movement in my rankings in big board. But the Commanders would love some more corner help. Las Vegas Raiders go with Quinn Ewers, quarterback out of Texas. Raiders need a quarterback. This is probably a spot I'd be willing to take a quarterback. I don't like that it's quarterback 3. That's where I'm kind of like, do you really want to take quarterback 3 in this quarterback class in the top 10? But currently, hey, Gardner Minshew, still the starter. Still the starter. They're going to stick with him and not move to O'Connell, but he is obviously a bridge option. Quinn Ewers, you worry about, is he going to miss time every year? Like, is there a little bit of fragility? Is there a little bit of glass when it comes to Quinn Ewers? He had shoulder injuries in back-to-back years. They were different shoulders, though. This year was an abdominal injury. It's going to cost him this last game. I don't think he's going to play against Mississippi State, but we'll see. But you love he's got a live arm. And he's got a live arm. He can push the ball downfield. He's got a quick release. The mechanics are a bit better this year for him, and the play has been more consistent for him. So I think he does got a higher ceiling maybe than definitely Carson Beck. You can make an argument he's got a bit of a higher ceiling than Shedeur as well. Cam Ward would be that guy for me though. I think I'm starting to lean into Cam Ward QB1. Kind of where I'm at. We'll see. Miami's got Virginia Tech Friday night. Indianapolis Colts, they go with Benjamin Morrison, corner out of Notre Dame. I'm kind of shocked that Travis Hunter's not off the board yet. I mean, if you're viewing him as a receiver, maybe. I mean, I would have taken him probably at Tennessee. But Benjamin Morrison, you're looking for another corner there for Juju Brents. I know Jalen Jones is coming off a big game. Can you maintain that the rest of the year? But still, corner is such a volatile position. It's nice to have a nice ton of talent there. Just, I mean, honestly, like depth, like high-end play competition. Those are things you want from the corner position. Morrison brings that. I think he'd be a good fit, too, for Gus Bradley's defense. I think you can also make a good case. Mason Graham would be a fun pick here for the Colts, but it is what it is. Everybody loves the NFL draft, and I know you want to be familiar with every potential prospect that your team may draft, so I got good news for you. My draft guide is available for purchase. It is good throughout the entire draft cycle, and it updates through the season regularly. You'll get my current evals and rankings on hundreds of different players with player backgrounds and analytics. It also contains combine and pro day numbers, as well as my notes from the Senior and Shrine Bowl. You can purchase it for a one-time payment of $30 on PayPal, Venmo, and now I have the Cash App. Follow the link in the description and be sure to include your email because it is a Google spreadsheet. That is how I share it with you. So please don't make me hunt down your email. Just don't do it. Anywho, it's a great purchase and it's a great way to support the channel. Los Angeles Rams go with T-Mac to Tetero McMillan, wide receiver out of Arizona. Okay, this is kind of fun. I mean, I get it. Cooper Kupp not nearly been as healthy recently. You got Puka. He started the year banged up. So maybe adding another wide receiver to the fold here. You can, I mean, to be fair, the top tackles are off the board. I think I do want to throw Travis Hunter out there because I think that would be a really good fit here as a wide receiver and someone you could package as on certain downs and formations as a corner. I think that'd be hella fun. Tetero McMillan, I get it. He built different. He tall. He moves smoothly. Moves well. So, yeah, not out of the realm of possibility. I mean, he deserves to go in the top 10 at this juncture, I think. Arizona Cardinals go with Mikael Williams, edge out of Georgia. So all these edges that have just come off the board are project guys. Not project guys. Guys that just haven't shown it yet. Like guys that are freaky in terms of their tools and athleticism, but they just don't have the consistency there. To be fair, Williams, we were hoping to see it this season. He's been out with an injury I believe it's like a high ankle sprain or something along those lines. Hopefully we see him. I don't know if we'll see him in the Bama game. But yeah, I mean, maybe you want to like, I think edge is the right. Actually, no, I'd go with Mason Graham here. I think Mason Graham would probably be the better pick instead of just taking a shot on a toolsy prospect. I think I'd take the guy with the production. Mason Graham popped off this week against USC, along with basically the whole defensive line. So hopefully that puts Mason Graham in a good groove, and he starts to rail out these weeks that made me think he was a top 3 prospect in this class. We have at pick 11, Jacksonville Jaguars go with Travis Hunter. Man, I can't believe he stayed on the board this long. All right, so let's read this real quick. Whether Travis Hunter plays wide receiver or quarterback at the next level, I'd argue the Jacksonville Jaguars could use either. I can see Hunter petitioning to play wideout, but he'd be a great fit next to Tyson Campbell for Ryan Nielsen's scheme. Sure, I get it. I like him in a more zone-heavy scheme, actually. So I don't necessarily agree with the fit at corner. But, I mean, at wide receiver, I think that's hella fun. Not to say he can't play more, man. It's just like you worry with a slender build. Can he play more physical? Or is he going to be out there just trying to out-athlete? And is he just going to get, like, mollywopped by more physical receivers? But, I mean, regardless, like, Travis Hunter should go higher than this. And he's probably a wide receiver. I think we should just start viewing him as a wide receiver just because that pay scale. It comes down to that pay scale. Chicago Bears are next on the clock. They take edge. James Pierce out of Tennessee. Very fascinating. The Bears would seriously consider interior offensive line here if one emerged as a top 15 talent. Guys, there's just not that guy. There's not a guard or a center worth the top 15 pick, in my opinion, in this class. Hate to break it to you, but that's the honest truth. But let's read the rest of this. Solving the issue opposite of Montez Sweat. I mean, you got Austin Booker you're developing. You've seen good things from Darrell Taylor and DeMarcus Walker, but I get taking a swing on a high upside prospect. Like, I'm not against it. Maybe the talent's there. I always struggle picking for the Bears just because, well, I know what they need, but it's just not good value. So James Pierce be a fun get here, and I mean, he can go and get after it. So yeah, let's do it. Cleveland Browns next on the clock, and they take a quarterback. We got Jalen Milroe going to the Browns. We're gonna have to talk about Milroe as potential first-round pick. Let's see how he plays against a very good Georgia defense. But I get it. Maybe not the most accurate guy on the short to intermediate, but he's got a pretty long ball. He is a legitimate threat with his legs. Like, we're going to have to talk about him. We're going to have to talk about him as a potential first-round prospect, depending on this Georgia game. Cleveland, you're kind of in a tough situation. I mean, I don't know what you can do. Are you just gonna eat all that dead cap from Deshaun Watson? I guess you kind of have to at this point, right? Because, like, he doesn't look good. He looks bad. You're just gonna have to acknowledge you made probably the worst trade and gave out the worst contract in NFL history. But hey, when you're a team as thirsty for quarterback as the Browns are, I get it. I don't blame the Browns. I don't blame the Browns for, well, I blame them for the contract. Contract was terrible. I'll blame them for going out and making that trade. Sucks that it didn't work out. But not only was the contract bad, but then restructuring the contract, that was bad. Golly, just a bevy of bad moves when it came to Deshaun Watson. On the Browns' part, we're not even talking about the bad moves by Deshaun Watson, and I don't want to. Minnesota Vikings take Mason Graham, defensive interior out of Michigan. Listen, when a gift horse hits, or what does that say? Don't look a gift horse in the mouth. You don't do that. Like, listen, that interior, that defensive line just gets even more scary with the addition of a Mason Graham. I would love corner here. I think you can make a case for maybe Denzel Burke. He's probably the next corner up here. Obviously, there's Siobhan Revel. Hopefully, he is fit by the off-season draft process. But he's coming off an ACL. ACL tear. I don't think he's going to be ready. I don't think we're going to see a workout, but maybe. But I mean, the talents. I arguably have Mason Graham much higher on my board. I think, yeah, you go with it. It's a good pick here. Speaking of the devil, pick 15, Pittsburgh Steelers. They go with Denzel Burke. So I was just talking about Denzel Burke. Great fit for the defense. Truly a great fit for the defense. Deontay Jackson's playing good football. So I don't know about having to necessarily go corner. I mean, with so many quarterbacks off the board at this juncture, why not? Why not? Just send it. Take quarterback 5 here. Take quarterback 5. But Justin Fields is playing good football. But they keep playing this game. We have not named the starter this week thus far. Why not? Fields is winning you games. Is it perfect? No, but he's not putting the ball in harm's way. Send it. Just send it. I'm not saying re-sign the guy right now. I'm just saying, hey, just send it as your starter. But Bert, good pick. I'm glad he's highlighted here. Seattle Seahawks take Tyler Booker, guard out of Alabama. So you might have a Grub Dable link it up here saying, hey, this big boy really good. You should take him. Yeah, they need guard help. I don't care either position. Anthony Bradford. Good run blocker, piss poor pass protector. He's just a liability in that regard. Lincoln Tomlinson is really just here for the year. So yeah, you're probably looking for guard help. Booker, I think I'd probably take Emory Jones and just move him to guard. And depending on what happens with Abraham Lucas, maybe Emory Jones plays tackle. I think that's kind of a fun scenario. Tyler Booker, he does have at least the size, play strength, speed to play tackle. Only played tackle once in his career, and that was against South Florida. There were some ups, there were some downs, but I mean, I get it. That was his first time playing tackle. Fine. So you could argue Tyler Booker has similar upside. The Miami Dolphins go with Dion Walker, big nose tackle, defensive interior out of Kentucky. Very interesting. Like this dude at 6'5", 340, 350, moves so freaking well. Not been as productive as a pass rusher this year as he was in 2023. But he eats space. He's a really good run defender. So, like, I get taking that for the Dolphins, but I mean, I kind of want to get in on this offensive line class. Listen, the pass protection sucks for the Dolphins. It just does. We have an offensive line that's as good at pass protection as they are good at being healthy. They're just not. That was my worry with Aaron Brewer. Like, good run blocker, bad pass protector. So I kind of want to get in, whether it's a guard or you can even make the case to tackle for me. Like, you really could. All right, Tampa Bay Buccaneers, pick 18. They go with Maxwell Harrison out of Kentucky. I haven't kept up with how Harrison's played thus far this year. I haven't watched Kentucky for an eval recently, so I haven't really watched him in depth. I do need to go back. I am going to be running back through some of these prospects. There's a couple of guys I want to add evals for on my draft guide, by the way. Go check that out before I go back and start watching a few games from prospects I've already done evals for. Just basically stock management, just making sure these guys are playing either as good or as bad as I anticipated. So let's take a look at how Harrison's done. While I look at that, do they need corner? Like Zion McCullen, yo, hello. I think the dude's arrived potentially. And on top of that, Jameel Dean is one of the most underrated corners in the NFL. There, I said it. He hella good. He hella good. So it looks like Maxwell has played pretty well. He's got a sack. Holy moly! Only rushed the passer 3 times, but he got a pressure and a sack. That's great. But he's a very good in run run defense. He's allowed 4 receptions on 8 targets for a interception. He will be tested this week. I think they face Ole Miss, so he's going to be tested big time this week. Whether he's lined up on Trey Harris or Juice Wells. So that's a big game for him. So probably, I mean, I guess I could go back watch the Georgia game, but I don't think I really want to watch that game. But I think the Ole Miss game is going to be huge. That's probably the game I want to go back to and see how he fares. But I don't think corner is the position. This is another place you could argue guard. Left guard's been dog water for the Bucs. Sorry, Ben Breedson. It's the truth. We talk about another edge. You still got like Jalen Walker. You still have Nick Scorton on the board here. So there's places they could go. Los Angeles Chargers, they go Kenneth Grant. I get it. Jim Harbaugh guy. Coming off a big game against USC. They really don't have that meaty interior player. They're kind of just this mass rotation right now with Poona Ford kind of being the lead snap getter. So I get picking Grant. It's a fun pick. We got the New Orleans Saints going wide receiver, and they're going Kyren Lacy, keeping the Bayou boy in the Bayou. All right, let's go. Kyren Lacy. I watched a little bit of him last year, and it was like, you know what? I think I'd rather see how he does this year as the main guy. I've yet to go back and do that watch. I'm actually, this week, my plan is to do get evals for Garrett Nussmeier and Kyren Lacy. And probably do see how Mason Taylor's been doing. So going back and just checking out that LSU offense. So I can't give you like a real keen specifics on Kyren Lacy in terms of like what I think about him. I know he's been making plays. I know there's been times where the LSU offense or the at least Garrett Nussmeier or the play calling have kind of ghosted him for portions of the game where that doesn't make sense. But I mean, out of him here, I don't know, man. With the Saints are another hard team to project. You can make a case for more offensive line help, more so maybe on the interior, or it depends how Trevor Penning plays the remainder of the season. I don't know. We'll see. Atlanta Falcons take Luther Burden. This is a great pick. It's a phenomenal pick. I love the fit for this offense. Luther Burden, don't think he'll be around for pick 21, but good players fall in the draft. It happens every year. Whenever somebody says, oh, this player's not going to be available at this pick. And it's like, unless you're like a consensus, like top 5 pick, you could really go anywhere in the draft. Good players fall. When someone tries to tell me, oh, this player won't be available at this pick, I laugh. Because it's like, we see this every year and you truly believe this? Okay. The Green Bay Packers take Jalen Walker, edge / linebacker, but he's an edge player. Out of Georgia, I feel like this is the one thing that the Packers are really good at, and that's pass rush. Maybe you make a case, oh, there's not a corner I love for this pick. I would argue running back here because Josh Jacobs, you could get off that contract. All his guarantees are in year 1, so you can get off his contract after this season. And you can send it with that type of offensive line. Like, you even have backups playing well. Like, Sean Ryan stepping in playing good football. You even, like I said, you even have backups doing well. With that offensive line, you're ready for you. I think you have a good case to make that they should go for the best running back in this class. whoever that may be for people. For me, it's Ashton Shenty. But yeah, go ahead, draft that guy, and then run him into the ground during his rookie contract. And then maybe you can do it in another 4 years. Or maybe you can get him at a reasonable rate. That's just kind of, I think, the best way to do to have running backs right now is like, hey, if you got a really good offensive line, just go ahead, draft that guy in the first round. If they have a first round caliber running back, draft that guy and run him into the ground and have him just wreak havoc behind a great offensive line. Because like the shelf life on running backs, it's low nowadays. That's just the fact of the matter. But also the running game is starting to get back into fashion with so much too high. So I don't know. I love Jalen Walker though. The New York Jets take Cam Ward, quarterback out of Miami. I kind of said he's probably trended to be my quarterback one at this juncture. Drew Aller and Jackson Dart are two guys also I want to throw into the mix, as now they have big matchups coming up that will really dictate that. If they can maintain their level of play in those matchups, then okay, we need to throw their names into the hat here. Like, again, this quarterback class is just it's a mad dash for quarterback one. It's nuts. I like the idea of being able to grab Cam Ward, sit him behind Aaron Rodgers, and just let Aaron do his thing. And then maybe in like another year or two, Cam Ward's ready to take the reins. Like, you continue to develop him because he's not a perfect prospect, but he's definitely probably got one of the biggest upsides in this class. I still think that probably goes to Drew Aller just because, well, shoot, my guy. Like, Drew Aller's built different. But Cam Ward, the play has been great thus far for him. So I would love to see it. Cincinnati Bengals, they take Colston Loveland, tight end out of Michigan. This is kind of a cookie cutter pick. A lot of people, they want to include Colston Loveland in the first round. They don't know where to put him though. Bengals seem like a good choice as of right now, so I get it. Loveland, he was injured against, or he didn't play against USC. Hopefully he's back sooner rather than later. Unfortunately, this isn't exactly a passing offense in Michigan. So the numbers are going to be like overwhelming for him. The Dallas Cowboys take Ashton Shenty, running back out of Boise State. He is my running back one. He's probably going to stay my running back one. The dude's just been phenomenal this year. Dallas Cowboys, yeah, they're currently not getting a lot from their running backs, to be fair. The last game, it was a negative game script, so they kind of had to get away from the running game. Rico Dotto, I think, has been all right, but is he anything more than a committee back? I got my hesitancies when it comes to that. So I get the pick. If you want to include a running back in the first round, I think the Cowboys are the most popular place to put one. But you can argue maybe they want to get in on, okay, no, we're too squishy on the defensive interior. Ozzie Smith hasn't looked great. Maybe we take another shot. Who would that be? Who would that guy be? Maybe honestly, if you're looking for run defense, like, I don't think there's a better run defender in this class than Tyleik Williams. And it's just the pass rush upside. Well, in terms of tools and athleticism, it's there. It's just the production never has been as a pass rusher. So, like, I think Tyleik, you could also make a great case for Derek Harmon, interior out of Oregon, who's also a very good run defender, but this year has popped off as a pass rusher. I think he's got like a 23-25% win rate. It's insane. Nick Scording goes to the Baltimore Ravens, edge out of Texas A&M. He had a good week against Bowling Green. He should have a good week against Bowling Green. I heard he's been trying to work through an injury, which kind of explains why his last couple of games were kind of lackluster, because he started out hot against Notre Dame, had a good week. You're looking for that guy to be that consistent opposite of Odafe Owe. I mean, to be fair, Kyle Van Noy's playing good football, but you don't want to rely solely on an old head, so I get it. It makes sense. And scoring's good. Scoring's good. The Eagles take Tate Ratledge, guard out of Georgia. There's a good chance he might end up my guard one, like true guard one, because Emory Jones is like, is he a tackle? Is he a guard? I don't know. You could say the same thing about Jonah Sabania, but Tate Ratledge, he is a guard through and through, and he played great football. Currently did have surgery on his ankle, tightrope surgery. He will be back later in the year. Kind of a bummer, but I think Noah was playing better at guard than Tate Ratledge. Dude's strong, moves relatively well. Malachi Starks. Okay, wow, this is ridiculous. Malachi Starks going to the Texans at 28. Didn't even realize he wasn't off the board yet. All right, let's take a look at this. I'm not sure defensive-minded head coach D'Amico Ryans could pass on the value offered here. I mean, there ain't no way. Now look at me. I just criticize people, oh, good players fall all the time. And I'm like, there ain't no way Malachi Starks is here at 28. But it's in the realm of, like, it's not, the chances aren't zero. So, yeah, it's just it would be a great pick. I get it. Kalen Bullock's playing great football for you. Malachi Starks actually could play more of that in-box role. Because keep in mind, there's a lot of cover 3 with D'Amico Ryans. So you got Pitre playing the slot. You could have Starks playing. You could have him play back. You could have him play in the box. But, I mean, Kalen Bullock is every bit of that center fielder. So it would be definitely an interesting safety group there. Detroit Lions go Walter Nolan, interior out of Ole Miss. Oh, okay. So I had to read this. So Aiden Hutchinson is playing great, but his production would considerably skyrocket if the Lions had better pass rush on the interior. Fun fact, I think the pass rush on the interior for the Lions isn't the problem. It's having a consistent threat opposite of Aiden Hutchinson. Marcus Davenport, unfortunately, this is just a thing with him now. He's out for the rest of the year. So that really sucks. It's really terrible. Like, Davenport was playing good football. But let's look at it. Let's look at this, because when it comes to the interior, I mean, you got, 13.2% pass rush win rate from Liam McNeil. You got an 11.8 pass rush win rate from Levi Owuzurike. Hey, glad to see him back. You have a 10% pass rush win rate from Makai Wingo. He's playing relatively solid. DJ Reader, unfortunately, has been a little, at least, I don't know if he's been beat up or they're just like slowly bringing him back. But he's only played a minimal bit of snaps. He's only played 2 games this year for the Lions. 2 out of 3, to be fair. But yeah, I think you're looking for that opposite of Aiden Hutchinson, who, by the way, has a 37.9 pass rush win rate. Making me blush. I get Walter Nolan. He's a versatile player that could also play out on the edge, but I don't know, man. Has he played relatively well? I mean, they've had a cupcake schedule. I feel like I did check on him maybe a couple of weeks ago. Let's take a look at the pass rush win rate for Walter Nolan. It's 12.2%. It's like nothing special. He's winning one-on-ones, which is great, which means, okay, maybe a 3-tech penetrator, a guy you are just going to kick on the outside. Like, I don't know, man. I don't love it. Buffalo Bills take Kevin Winston Jr. He's unfortunately going to be out with a long-term injury. No idea what that means. They weren't specific on what the injury was. DeMar Hamlin's playing good football for Penn State. Ha. I mean, DeMar Hamlin went to Pitt, so it's kind of wild I said Penn State. But for Buffalo, Buffalo, like, I don't think you go safety early on. They did draft Cole Bishop, like, last year. Like, I don't know. I wouldn't go with it. I wouldn't go with safety, especially one that's currently banged up. That's just not my cup of tea. San Francisco 49ers go with Emory Jones, tackle slash guard out of LSU. If he's available here, this is a good pick. You do want to look for... I mean, he would have to be the right tackle. Because, like, you're not going to move him to left. Like, Trent Williams still playing great football at his age, but at some point, Father Time is going to win. Father Time is undefeated. But Trent Williams, because what is Trent Williams, like 36 right now? Yeah, he's currently 36, man. He's gotta slow down at some point, but it doesn't feel like it. Nick Martin, linebacker out of Oklahoma State, going to Kansas City here at pick 32. I love Nick Martin being just included in here. Like, I think because of his lack of size, he probably ends up day 2. But this guy moves all over the field. He is he literally is an animal. He is everywhere on the field. He attacks with reckless abandonment, and you just love it. You just love it. I do think Chiefs probably bring back Nick Bolton. I don't think that contract's is gonna be that crazy. I think it's more so guys like Trey Smith who are gonna ask for really lucrative contracts who deserve it. But at the linebacker position, typically you get a fairly reasonable deal done, especially with Nick Bolton, who has been injured here and there. But great player went on the field. Fun fact, if you didn't know, I was a big Nick Bolton guy when he was coming out of Missouri. I tried to tell y'all. I tried to tell y'all about Leo Chenal as well. When will y'all start listening to me? Not saying I'm right all the time, but I get some right. Give me a little credit. But that's it for the mock draft. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. What were some of your favorite picks here, or where do you disagree with me on? I threw out a lot of takes there. I'm sure there's some stuff y'all disagree with, and that's A-okay, man. We're just football fans here trying to rationalize our football opinions. At the end of the day, I'm just some guy on the internet giving you my opinion, so why should it matter to you? I mean, I think I make good arguments, but again, form your own conclusions, do your own research. But until next time, you be easy, my friends. Later.